Hey guys, welcome to Fantasy Effect episode 84. This is Chasing Championships. We do have our own free Discord now. If you guys would like to join that, just hit us up on the Twitters, X, whatever you want to call it. We do have a Patreon as well. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I got Holler and McSpanky with me tonight on a Thursday night. We got the football going on in the background for everybody. So if we seem slightly distracted, we are. How's it going, guys?
Good, except for my mic that I use just decided to break right before I.
Yeah, there was a lot of technical difficulties working.
Yep.
Yes, that's
working our
also
way
why
into
we
this
started
one.
late.
Yeah.
So sorry, that was 100% my fault. So hopefully I sound okay. I know I'm not in there with the mic, but hopefully I still sound okay. And
That sounds good.
yeah, it's all good, man. We got football going, so that's fun.
Yeah.
Yes, indeedy. Yes,
We're-
indeed.
We're fighting the national rankings tonight. I think it'll be close if we can catch up to the rankings so that there's a football game. But
Listen,
we may lose out
Sure.
some people on the MLB playoffs are playing as well. So we may lose out on a few to those games, but we'll see. I think we'll be all right.
I don't
the
think
Seahawks
our
and
audience
Niners would be
overlaps
lucky to
with
have as many
playoffs.
viewers as we have. Okay,
Exactly.
that's what I think.
100%.
Okay, should we get into the news here a little bit?
Let's do it.
All right, so Nico Collins heads to the IR. And that's unfortunate. He's got I thought he's had a setback. He's got a hamstring injury. It popped up on the injury report after that big 61-yard touchdown or whatever. Leaves the game. They said he was day to day, and all of a sudden he's week to week, and then all of a sudden he's on IR. It seems like teams are more and more willing to put players on IR with that short-term 4-game IR available to them now. What do you guys think about the Nico injury?
This is big.
Um,
I think it's big. He was the leading receiving, wide receiver in the NFL going so far. He was putting up really good numbers. I think honestly, this is going to hurt CJ Stroud a little bit as well. I know Diggs is there now, so he'll probably take up more of those targets. But overall, I think the biggest beneficiary is actually going to be Dalton Schultz. I'll talk about it later in my starts of the week, but that's my guy. I think is gonna actually be the biggest beneficiary of this injury. Unfortunately, overall across the fantasy landscape, though, this is big. But has this been all year? There's been so many dang injuries, so this is just kind of how it is. I feel like.
It's like every time someone starts to pop off, they get injured. And so
Yep.
Yeah, man.
you're almost better just being kind of mediocre and kind of avoiding
Right.
the injury bug. But I think this is big for Tank Dell. I think he's finally gonna get some run. At least I'm hoping.
I hope so.
So I
Yeah.
think Stephon Diggs, they kind of use him underneath a little bit more, and I think this is going to give Tank Dell a chance to be more of like the vertical guy, which is what he's good at.
Yes. I agree with that as well, but I just think overall, because Schultz is going from kind of nothing to now, I think he's going to be, with how bad the tight end landscape is, I think he'll be he'll be able to play him, actually, I feel like.
Oh,
For
no.
sure.
I think Jordan Mason just went down.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's not good.
I think that's him laying on the ground. I don't have the sound on, but they just showed Isaac Garendo. So, yeah.
For heaven's sake,
Yep.
we can't have nice things. Is what's happening.
No, we can't.
It's like
Jeez.
your fantasy teams this year, you're gonna win if you have a healthy roster and you can start a legal lineup at the end of the year. The rate we're going.
Yeah.
Yep.
Pretty much. It was Mason, and he's grasping at his shoulder. I hope he didn't break his collarbone. Okay. The Jets have fired Robert Saleh in a shocker. Aaron Rodgers had no knowledge of this happening.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers probably told them they had to fire Robert Saleh. Anyway, do you think this changes anything? They also changed their offensive coordinator or offensive play caller to Todd Dowding,
which is not an upgrade.
No.
Right. It sounds like it's the exact same offense, pretty much with a little bit more play action, and Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to go under center.
Well, from what I saw too, I forget who it was I saw on Twitter, but it was like the last time Todd Downing called plays. It was with the Titans, and they were like the 30th ranked pass offense or like offense in the league, and like 29th in scoring. So it's like, oh, sick. So now you're gonna go from last to 29th?
Right. Big upgrade. Big upgrades
what are we
there,
doing
man.
here? I do think though, like we see this a lot. Like when a coach gets fired, they have like that one game where there's like a big bump in production.
Mhm.
So I could see the Jets going out and having a nice game. I think they play Buffalo on Monday night. Or is that?
They do.
Yes.
Yeah, Buffalo.
And Buffalo can be run on. So I do think this is nice. I think Brees Hall might have a nice little bounce back game. I'm
Mhm.
sure Rodgers will have a nice game just to prove that
He doesn't need Salah. Yeah.
he doesn't need
Right,
whatever.
right.
I think it'll be interesting to see how the defense responds because I know those guys really like Salah. He's a very, very good defensive coach. So I think that will
Yeah.
be something to look for. But to me, I think the Jets overall are just in shambles.
Sure, and the Jets defense though, like I know
They were
give
really
them
good.
credit for being good, but they haven't been that great this year. Like
Yeah.
they got ran on a little bit, especially early in the season. I think the pass defense has been, not quite as like locked down as it has been in the previous years, and so I'm kind of curious to see. I do think though, like Robert Saleh was very conservative with his approach. So I'm excited to see. Hopefully, they kind of get a little more aggressive and kind of hopefully. I mean, I don't think the offense is going to get saved. I think they have issues. I know they want to try to trade for Devontae Adams. I don't think that's going to help. Their offensive line can't block for anybody.
Nope.
It's
Yeah.
it's like
Same old. Yeah.
It's a shit show. In Raiderland, we have some exciting news, or not
Well.
exciting. I don't know.
Well,
The Raiders have benched Gardner Minshew, and Aiden O'Connell will be starting for the Raiders. Are they gunning for the 101, McSpanky? Is that the goal here?
I don't know if it's the goal, but I think that's where the destination's going. We're not. The Raiders have a lot of problems too. Gardner Minshew hasn't played well, but he wasn't also the problem here.
No.
Like he wasn't the full problem.
Right.
Devontae Adams isn't playing. Allegedly, he doesn't. He's gonna play when his hamstring's better. I don't know. There was Antonio Pierce said something today about how he's still a Raider, which I mean technically yes, he's still under contract by Vegas, but I don't think he plays when they're down for us. Zamir White, the offense is the offensive line can't block. No one can run the ball. It's bad. So yeah. I don't know if the 101 is necessarily there, but it's definitely top 5 pick. I can tell you.
Oh
that.
Yeah.
My Rams are vying for that too, but I don't think they're not going to lie down. And they
play each other this year in LA, so that would be fun.
They do.
Oh boy.
But I think I just don't think that would be something that McVay would be okay with, right? They're going to fight every game.
They're going to get healthier at some point.
Yeah. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Aiden O'Connell, I don't think that really changes the offense, though, to be fair.
No, not at all.
Be the same.
No.
Same
I think it will be fine. Like same thing. I feel like mainly the only person really that you can feel comfortable playing is Brock Bowers. So Jacoby Myers has been okay, not great though. I think he's popped up on the injury report as well. So I really only feel good about putting Bowers in my lineup.
Yeah, he's the only one I feel okay with. Trey Tucker is there. He runs routes.
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Aiden O'Connell, but what I do know about Gardner Minshew is he's got a little bit of that wild man in him, and he will start chucking that thing, if he's given that opportunity. And I don't know if Aiden O'Connell has that. So, I mean, that really does hurt some of these extra pieces like you guys are talking about, like Jacoby Myers and Trey Tucker, especially, hucking a deep ball. For some reason, people are afraid to do it. And I don't know what Aiden O'Connell's, all about.
He doesn't have the arm to throw it deep.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Because we saw him quite a bit last year. He doesn't really throw deep. He kind of just takes what the offense can give him, and he's got some decent underneath stuff. I mean, he comes from that Purdue system, right, where he's it's not.
Yeah,
dude.
It's meh.
This offense isn't doing anything. So.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't invest into the Zamir White hype. Michael Pittman
to do that. Some idiot, probably.
Yeah. I don't know who was on top of that one. Michael Pittman is to miss multiple weeks. He's not on IR yet, is he?
He's not
on IR, but he's.
It sounds like he's a candidate for it.
I haven't seen him go on it or have him talk about it, but I mean, with these back issues, like if it doesn't get better, they might have to. They might have no
Yeah.
choice but to rest him,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
let the back heal. But that sucks. No one
Definitely.
can stay healthy. He finally had a couple nice games there with Joe Flacco.
Right.
That's
That's the
for
worst
Colts
part
offense,
about
though,
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
think
like, go ahead, Holler.
I was gonna say I think Richardson's going to be back, so I don't know. I think it might have been back to the same old with Michael
Yeah.
Pittman.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just a bummer. Like, there's been so many injuries this year. It's just they keep piling up. And I think if he's going to miss multiple weeks, I do think he may land on IR, but maybe not, because right, you have to miss 4 games, so maybe he only misses 2 games, and then he'll be able to come back. So I think, like you said, with back injuries, it will just depend. I think it's going to go week by week. So but yeah, just all these injuries popping up. It's just a bummer. I mean, Michael Pittman's still a solid player, even if Anthony Richardson's on the field versus Joe Flacco. He's somebody that you would like to put in your lineup if he's playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had benched all my Pittman. Like I was gonna bench if Richardson plays, I'm benching all Pittman, anyway. So the only time I felt good starting him was when Flacco was starting the one
I
game
think
there. So.
And also the biggest thing is it just depend on, obviously, of course, just depends on who else you have. But yeah, if I have a more viable option, like if it's a start through wide receiver and he's my 4th wide receiver, and I have like a, like a running
Darnell Mooney over him, man.
Exactly, yeah. If I have a Darnell Mooney, or if I have a flex play that I could do, a running back or another tight end or something, I would have felt good about sitting him with Richardson. We'll get to Richardson in a little bit.
I think anyone's a more viable option than Michael Pittman or Josh Downs right now.
Yep.
Anthony Richardson is like he's horrendous. He'll make some really nice throws, and I guess we can just get into it because I'm gonna shut off. But he can't throw an accurate pass, or at least not consistently.
Yep.
And then it's a lower passing offense now. Jonathan Taylor's banged up too, and he sounds like he might not play again this week.
Wonderful.
And Trey Sermon, I think he's nicked up too, and so it's like, what do we?
He practiced today.
Did he practice? Okay, well, even still, it's him and Tyler Goodson. It's not exactly a formidable duo in the backfield.
Yep.
Anthony Richardson's he is what he is. Dude, like, is Richardson realistically? How long does he get on this team to be the starting quarterback if he can't pull it together?
Like, I think he would get this
2 years.
Yeah, this year, and say they have.
We've seen guys pull faster.
Yeah,
that's fair.
I think with his injuries, though, I think they'll give him this year. But I think I don't think Steichen's gonna 1 year, and I think he will want to move on, right? And so I put this on the dock. Like, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. Is like, I'm very worried about Anthony Richardson. The offense looks so much better when he's not playing. I know they weren't with Jonathan Taylor last week, but Flacco can put up solid numbers. So I think if I'm that coaching staff, I'm going to ask, like, why can a 40-year-old Joe Flacco throw the ball, and our Anthony Richardson, our top whatever it was pick, cannot, right? And so I just think I was just looking at my rankings. I've had a busy weekend, so I haven't been able to move him down. But last week I had him all the way down to quarterback 12, and as I'm looking at it, I want to move him down even more. Like, I'd rather have a Dak Prescott. I'd rather have a Brock Purdy. And I don't think at this point, I don't know if people, I don't know if people would take a 1-for-1.
If you say Baker Mayfield.
I'm going to. Would you want Baker Mayfield or Anthony Richardson?
If I can get
honest to God, I think I want Baker Mayfield.
If I can get a plus with Baker, then
I don't even need a plus. I'll just do it straight up.
That's
oh my Lord.
I have a little bit of I think I have a little bit of, like, I would want to see a little bit more. But if I get a plus, like a viable, like, it doesn't have to be that much. Like, if I could get a I don't know if this is too much, but like a Chris Godwin or like a Amari Cooper, like, something like that. Like, because I'm all the way down to my tier 13. And if I can get another flex play with him, then I'll probably take him, because Baker's playing really well and putting up numbers. And this, like, we don't even know what Anthony Richardson is going to do week in, week out. So
I know what he's going to do.
I mean,
he's going to throw for some 50%.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't get into the end zone, twice running the ball, he's worthless. Because he doesn't really top like 200 passing yards unless he starts, hucking bombs, which he does hit occasionally, but you can't rely on that.
Yep.
Baker, I at least know what I'm getting. I'm getting about 240 a game and probably at least 2 touchdowns, if not 3. Or he's been lighting it up. So.
Yep. No,
I'm gonna.
And Baker got the contract over. What'd you say?
I'm going to start Drake May over him this week in the league.
Over Richardson or Baker?
Over Richardson. No, not over Baker. I'm not psychotic.
Okay. I know you love Drake May. I'm just trying to see how delusional you are.
I don't
know.
At least there's the mystery box of Drake May walking out there and what he's going to do. Like Anthony Richardson, can't play quarterback if he doesn't hit a 70-yard bomb. You're like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
And there's the chance that he might leave after 2 plays because he does an awkward slide and somebody, knocks him out.
Yep. Spot on.
Now I'm trying to figure out Anthony Richardson trades again. Good Lord. I'll never move him off my rosters.
Okay. I'll tell you, I'm gonna sell him straight for Baker anywhere I have him.
I can't wait to see it go through tonight.
I know, right?
I'm gonna do it. I'll use our fantasy effect insight tool, and I'll find all my Anthony Richardson shares right now, and I will send out some trade offers.
So also on the injury report, James Cook did pop up there with a toe, and Romeo Doubs did come back to practice. Also, Christian Watson was back to practice pretty quickly, and we found out his dad is on Twitter.
So good.
Oh man. Okay. You guys want to get into these the dynasty updates here? Spanky, you got some buys?
Yeah, I got some buys for contending teams that I think are reasonable / will get you where you need to go. If you are a contender, I have kind of these tiered late ones right now.
Love it.
Terry McLaurin, David Montgomery, either the Bucs wide receivers, Chris Godwin or Mike Evans, and then Brian Robinson. And for context, I went to Dynasty Daddy and I kind of looked at their rankings where they had late first and seconds, and I try to get guys underneath those. That way it should be obviously every league's different. But I think these are realistic that you could get done. And I think all of them are going to help you, at least give you some extra depth and some nice points. And then if you want to hold on to your ones, which I don't blame you, I like to do that too for late twos. Khalil Shakir, he's the wide receiver 1 in Buffalo in terms of usage. And he's second in targets, first in yards, first read rate. Zach Charbonnet, the 2 weeks that Kenneth Walker missed, he was running back 8 and 7. He's more of the pass catcher down there. I think he's looked really good, and I think he might get more work. Now, granted, as I'm saying, that he's probably going to get hurt playing on Thursday Night Football right now.
Don't do that to me.
Chase Brown's getting more. Chase Brown's getting more and more, work in the Cincinnati backfield. I think Zach Moss is banged up too. I think he was back at practice today, but either way, Chase Brown's he started getting some more red zone work, some of the pass catching work, and then Jalen Polk, he's looked pretty good with a very pedestrian pass offense. If Drake May can come in and just be fine, Polk might be really useful in the second half of the year, and so that's one that I think you could reasonably acquire at the moment. And some of these guys, if you're sending a late 2, you might have to add something else onto, or maybe get, maybe do like a 3rd round pick swap to kind of help even things out. But I think these are some kind of guys that I would target to see if you can help bolster and get yourself through the bye weeks and hopefully withstand injuries and keep on going. Get a title.
I moved to Rashad White for Brian Robinson. I think I sent Rashad White in the 3rd for Brian Robinson. Yeah, in a random league, which is nice. So yeah, I like some of these a lot. I think you could probably get Khalil for pretty cheap. He was injured last week. I like that one a lot. And then Chase Brown's my start of the week for running backs, and I like that one a lot. He's been getting more work each week. Moss might not play. So I just think he's a better pass catching running back, and so versus Zach Moss. So I think he's going to get more of the work, down the stretch as the Bengals get better as a team, right? That Joe Burrow looks really, really good. I just think they've gotten unfortunate, bounces per se, right? They've lost couple, like their first game they shouldn't have lost to the Patriots. That was a really bad game, but then they lost last week to the Ravens from it like a
Mhm.
overtime field goal, right? So, and then Jalen Polk, yeah, I would like to see one more week before I would go out and acquire, but I think you might want to get ahead of that because right now he could be super cheap. I
That's what
think
I was
I
thinking.
agree. I think he's going to get a lot better with Drake May. I'm the jury's still out on Drake May, but I liked what I saw at North Carolina enough to think that I think he's going to be a solid quarterback. Maybe not the greatest for fantasy terms, but I think he'll be solid.
Hmm. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be a slog for year one here for Drake May. So let's just hope we see some flashes out there.
Yeah.
Who do we have up next here? Monty as the buy. Yeah, buddy.
He's always such a good like late season or mid season to late season buy when you're trying to make a playoff run. You know what you're going to get from David Montgomery. So I do know they're going to give, they want to give more work to Gibbs, but that Detroit Lions front is
It's
so
a
darn good that their running
yeah.
backs are both going to be very, very good.
I don't
They're
know the
different
numbers
skill
off the
sets.
top of my head from just watching the game though. It's a super even split, and they both do everything.
Yeah.
So if Monty gets a drive, like they basically just swap drives pretty much, and whoever's fresher gets to go out there. Sometimes it's two drives in a row, sometimes it's one drive, but you can count on them both getting volume all year long as they're healthy.
Yeah, and if you look at, I mean, there's plenty of work for both of them, right, to succeed. And,
Mhm.
Montgomery's the cheaper option. Obviously, I think Jameer Gibbs is going to cost you quite a bit more than that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and Montgomery's, I think he's a lock for double-digit touchdowns. If he's, I mean, I don't know what he's at right now, but it's got to be
I think he's at least at 6. I
4,
think he scored a touchdown in every
5.
game.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry,
Yeah.
5. They've only
5.
played
Yeah.
5 games. They had to buy.
Let's see.
He is at 4 touchdowns right now.
Okay.
Oh, I thought he
There you
scored
go.
one
So-
in every game. Son of a.
He might have had a receiving, so he might have 5 overall, but I'm just looking
Oh, okay. Okay.
what I've seen so far. But yeah,
I can't mess up on Lion stats, man.
271 and 4
Skip.
touchdowns. I don't see the receiving, so but yeah, it's been great. Exactly
Hell
what you pay for or draft for. He's been good.
Mm-hmm. He's one of the few guys that's actually returned value on there.
Yeah.
Capital.
Out of all these, though, I think with the name, and him being attached to the Lions, I think he's going to be your most expensive option. Maybe Brian Robinson. I think you probably can get him in Montgomery for about the same price.
People still are sleeping on Byron Robinson, and
Totally.
I know I'm usually the lowest on him out of the three of us, but like he's a good player.
You come around. I'm proud of you.
I know.
I'm surprised I don't have like a million shares of him just because of the way I hype him up, but I don't. I just
I know.
He's not somebody that like you want to go out and acquire, but now he is actually. I think that offense overall has been solid. Like, and I think that's not coming from Kingsbury. I think it's more coming from Jalen Daniels.
Their opponents? No.
Yeah, that too. But no, I think this week we'll see exactly what
it's going to be a big. Yeah, it's going to be a big step forward. I don't expect much from this offense in this one. I mean, the Ravens are a different playing field than
absolutely
what the Commanders are. I know that
you still got to start
really good.
You say that, but you know who beat Baltimore in Baltimore? The Raiders.
The dang Raiders, yeah.
Yeah,
the goddamn Jets.
Goddamn Jets. They seem to do that. I don't know. I mean, the 49ers freaking lost, or I'm sorry, the Seahawks lost to the Giants. Jesus. Anyway.
Let's get into our
scared the shit out of me. So
our movers for the week.
Who's moving?
Okay, so we Daniel Jones kind of moving up. He's had 3 out of 4 games have looked really solid. We've also mentioned Baker already. Baker's kind of on his way up. I really don't like. I don't know how high Baker can ever go. If he can ever go past that late first, do you think he can ever get up to a mid first for Baker Mayfield?
Well, I can tell you where I moved him just earlier today.
Is it a mid first?
Into that mid first tier? Yeah.
Okay.
Dude,
I still have him
He's
right with the late first. I think I would personally. I need to get into my tiers and move people around, but yeah, I think I would pay like if my team, if I feel good, I'm 4-1, 5-1. after this week, and I need another quarterback, I'll go out and probably pay. That would be a mid to late first, probably, because you could go end
Sure.
up.
You're gonna need to pay more than that. I think because if anyone who has Baker, they know how good he's been. So
Yeah.
here's his fantasy finishes: second, fifth. Now he did have a dud in there. He had a 27 burger, which was not great. But then 3 and 7. He has 3 top 5 finishes and a 7th already. Like, dude's been outstanding.
Yep.
Yeah, he really has. I feel like the stink just follows him around everywhere, just for like a value perspective wise. Like he can't bump up that
But he
high to
shouldn't.
get.
And you should take advantage of that because
I mean, you're not wrong.
he's out. Here's the guys he's out producing: Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Brock Purdy, Dak Prescott, C.J. Stroud.
Sure.
Our Lord and Savior Patrick Mahomes, who has yet to have a QB1 finish on the season.
Lordy.
Like,
I brought
Baker
that up.
Mayfield is fantastic, and everyone just craps on him because I think it's he was in the Browns and then he kind of got moved around and he was horrible for a little bit.
Follows him, I'm telling you.
But he was a QB1 last year. He's been awesome this year. 4 QB7 finishes or above. Like, why are we holding back here? Are we just scared we're gonna get hurt from Baker? But like, he has the contract, so the stability's there. He's playing awesome. He has a good system. He has good wide receivers around him. Like, I just don't. He has a crappy division. Like,
Mike Evans is 31.
And
Mike Evans.
I mean,
I'm
Chris
just saying, Mike
there.
Evans is 31.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay, fair. But I mean, do you not think that they can just like? I think they draft well. I think they get other talent in there. He's done well. I just
definitely.
I don't know.
I think the hard part about acquiring Baker too is normally he is already on a contending roster.
Yeah,
because of his play, and like most contenders want that overpay if you're going to, because they themselves like, why am I going to give you a player that's helping me contend right now, like for anything except for just massive overpay here. Jeez Louise, get it together, Seattle.
I know. I don't know if you saw I made a face. I thought DK brought that in.
Yeah.
But no, like on Baker Mayfield, and like it's like, yeah, he might be on contenders already, but he might not be.
Sure, it's worth looking.
Like, it's definitely worth looking, and like the other thing too, if you need a quarterback, like he's probably going to be a cheaper, like top end quarterback that you can actually acquire than like, I mean, like if you're going to try to match that kind of production, like he's a top 5 guy right now, you're going to have to go after like a Joe Burrow or an Allen or a Daniels or a Lamar or Kyler, and it's like you're going to pay significantly more than a late or a mid first even for those guys. So
right, and stop contending. I think DK got that one. Get them feet down. No. Anyway.
Yeah, his feet hit the line.
Oh, am I behind?
Son of a. It's halftime, 16-3. How wonderful.
Jeez Louise. Okay, we got Minshew and Deshaun Watson moving down for obvious reasons. Minshew's been benched. Watson's been ass. Okay, so for wide receivers on their way up, we got Darnell Mooney, the Moon Man himself, and Jalen Tolbert. All right, Tolbert's kind of new on the move up here, so we'll kind of see what happens this week with him. For me, I know McSpanky's excited about him. He's making me trade him Tolbert everywhere.
I got 2 shares of Jalen Tolbert from you this week.
You did.
So just last night to be exact.
Yeah.
I think he could be like a fill-in, right? Like a guy that you're on a buy and you need a fill-in flex play. He is, the wide receiver 2 in Dallas, and they spray the ball around. He had a better game, in quotations, I'll say. He had a better game than CeeDee Lamb, more yards and a touchdown last week. So he's been fine, and I just wouldn't. I just think he's going to have some stinkers as well, and probably more stinkers than good games.
I don't know, man. Like Dallas, they can't run the ball right now,
exactly.
And Brandon Cooks he's out, and even when he comes back, like he's not exactly awesome.
I think I would have Tolbert
man.
over Brandon Cooks for sure.
Yeah, I had high hopes for Brandon Cooks in Dallas. I thought he'd be all right.
My issue is he's not really. He's only the third option because they're not going to throw the ball to one of
Yeah.
the running backs before him. I would say so. Even if he's in between 3 and 4, right? I've been him and Rico Dottle. There's maybe that third and fourth option. And maybe 1 week is Tolbert, 1 week is not, because I think the second option is Jake Ferguson, and
Oh
so
yeah, definitely.
so I think he is a very viable flex play moving forward, and if what would you guys be willing to, like, say you needed an option for flex, and what would you be willing to pay for him versus having him just like in a throw in, as you're moving guys over,
I
and so
I threw so the deals that Ron and I did, I threw him in basically valuing him around like a late 2, like a mid to late.
okay.
Okay.
That's kind of where I took him at.
That's where I was going to put him, as what I would give up for him, and even then, like, I'd kind of have to be in a pinch, and I'd probably have exhausted all other options
Exactly.
before I go to Tolbert, just because it's so early in this process of him, possibly becoming a thing. Like Darnell Mooney, we've seen 2 weeks. He's got he had a one point in Chicago where we really thought he was going to be a thing, and now that he has a quarterback, he is a thing. So I think it's easier for Mooney to be up in that mid 2 as to where Tolbert's at that late 2.
For funsies, let's see where he's at on Dynasty Daddy. Keep going. And
Okay. Just for context, too, just like with the Cowboys, like they are second in the league in pass attempts so far. They're hucking it around, and then for rush attempts, they're way down at 23rd. So like they can't run the ball, so they're just gonna throw it. There's plenty of options. I think there's plenty of room in the offense to throw to support. CD obviously going to get his, but I think Fergie and then Tolbert too. I think there's room for 3 of them, and obviously they're not going to be all good games, right? There's going to be games where it sucks and it burns you, but I think there's going to be games where, just recently, what he's been. Let me pull up. I just had it. He's been a wide receiver. I think he was a wide receiver 12 last week.
So it looks like the like fantasy community hasn't really
caught up yet.
Because he's all the way. Even Rashid's down at wide receiver 70. I'm looking on Dynasty Daddy. I'm using ADP Daddy, and he's like Jalen Tolbert's still under, and Darnell Mooney's down at wide receiver 80. Like Wan'Dale Robinson down at 84. Like I'm getting like it's crazy. Jalen Hyatt hasn't even caught a ball out of any week this year, and he's had 1 target, and he's at wide receiver 91. Like what are we doing? Treylon Burks, Jalen Tolbert's down at wide receiver 99. Holy moly! So yeah, I think you can still get him for a third.
Probably.
I don't.
No?
Because I think the people that have him that are more aware of what he's been doing. Than
all right. Well, let's look at KTC.
I just pulled up. He's like, "Where's your 60?"
62. Yeah, on KTC. Yeah. So I guess that is more of what like the fantasy community is like.
Don't lump me in with KTC.
Well, no,
I'm talking about like the larger.
Here's the thing with KTC is like it's more reactive, right? And so it's more like,
definitely.
and I kind of expected him to be higher just because he was a wide receiver 12 last week. I just pulled it up. He was also a wide receiver 24 and 34 finishes this year, and he also had a 68 and 91. We don't need to talk about those. So like we mentioned, right? He's gonna have these nice like spike games, and then he's gonna also have games where he totally burns you, and you wish that you'd started literally anyone else. But
but with how many injuries we have, like I think he's a guy that can help you
scoring points.
Yeah.
Keeper on trade holler. Oh wow.
Just glad I didn't get mentioned there. I don't know which.
Wow.
I guess you're the cut.
All right, I'm out of here. See ya.
I guess I was the cut. Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude. Oh damn.
Just me next week, guys. I guess.
Yep.
Holy hell. So moving down the ranks, I have Tank Dell and Chris Olave. So I'm kind of
Dell's gonna have room to come back up this week. It's just because Nico just went on IR. I think he's going to have room to kind of succeed and pop back up. But I know where you were going with that is he's been like really third fiddle in that offense.
Yeah, very much so. And if he doesn't pop back up, like he didn't really pop when Nico left the game. Like,
Yeah.
what was it, 30 yards or something last week? Like, that's
Yep.
not,
And that
Nico
was
left at the first half.
yeah, and that was kind of where my Dalton Schultz is coming from a little bit, but I think he. I think right now I would keep Tank Dell where he's at because I want to see over the next, 1 or 2 games if he can prop back
Sure.
up and get some better numbers. But I agree 100% with Olave. He's been very disappointing, and I know that's a little bit with Derek Carr, but Shaheed has been solid, right? And I know a lot of that's
They're
been
not targeting him.
deep throw balls and whatnot, but I think I'm going to try to watch Chris Olave very closely this week because Rattler already came out and said he wants to throw the ball to Olave a million times. And so obviously that's just saying the right things,
A
but
lot of things I want to.
exactly.
Right.
So we'll see. And Ron, I know you made moved some Olave, didn't you?
I did. I would have to go back through and remember what I did.
If the one I liked a lot, which I know I remember, is you
it was
got
the Jaden Reed one.
Jaden Reed and
Jaden Reed and
Smart.
Tank Bigsby. Yeah.
Yeah, that was nice.
So
like
my
that
thing
one,
with Olave is like I think Olave is just fine as a wide receiver, but I think that's all he is. And I don't think his value will ever be as high as what we're seeing, like right now or like preseason Olave. Because we're gonna have these new wide receiver or these rookie wide receivers come in, and he kind of like he puts up some nice games and stuff, but like I just don't think he's ever gonna reach that elite tier. Kind of what I thought he might have a possibility to do when he came into the league. You know what I mean? Like I just don't think he's ever gonna get there. So the reason I moved some was just because he'll never be valued this highly ever again. I don't think after this season.
Who scored more points than Chris Olave this season?
Who's that?
Jalen Tolbert.
Jameson Williams. Oh
No, Jalen Tolbert.
J-Mo's right behind him, though. So
Is he
those
really?
three are like back to back to back.
That's what I'm saying.
a
He's
lot of
wide
these-
receiver like 30 on the season. Like this.
And
Go ahead,
Olave's
sorry.
still
with certain players. We'll just some guys we are just so like dead set on them succeeding that we'll just make excuse after excuse for. Kyle Pitts is another
Yeah.
one that he's ranked way higher than he should too, just because we're just like, well, he should be good. It's like, yes, he
Crazy.
should be, but he's not, and he
Uh-huh.
doesn't ever score points. So why do we keep doing it? And then guys like Baker get buried because we're like, well, he kind of sucks. We're just waiting for him to suck again.
Right.
He's
Yeah.
the quarterback
That's
3.
stank.
So it's like,
Yeah.
what are we doing? We're just not reacting to what we're actually seeing. We're just trying to like paint a picture that fits our priors better, I guess.
Yeah, and on Dynasty Daddy, he's wide receiver 11, which is absolute bonkers. Guys right below him: Drake London, Jalen Waddle, Roma Dunze, Brandon Ayuk, and Nico Collins. That's just bonkers to me.
Yeah.
Did you say Nico's below him?
Yeah, I think it's reactionary to the injury, maybe. But yeah, I'm doing ADP Daddy fantasy. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I agree.
That's
okay. So we got some running backs that moved up. Mr. Tank Bigsby, Tyrone Tracy, and Kareem Hunt. Tank is still, a little bit of wishful thinking that he can get more carries, but I think he keeps doing these things that he will see more work in the offense. Maybe he can work himself into a nice 1-2 role, and then you can kind of be more consistent with his point scoring. I know it's been some large runs that he's snapped off. We'll see there. Tyrone Tracy obviously steps in for Devin Singletary and rushes for 100 yards against the Seattle Seahawks. Singletary's been limited in practice with a groin, so we'll kind of see where his health is at. And if you get Tracy again for another week, that's wonderful. And then Kareem Hunt, I can't remember what he rushed for, but I mean, it was all night that the Kansas City Chiefs used him. They don't have a dang wide receiver that's useful because Juju Smith-Schuster is now doing things, so they have to run the ball. What are you guys going to pay for Kareem Hunt?
I don't think I would
You don't have to pay a lot. I can tell you that.
A third.
A third, yeah. I mean, if you're
a third,
obviously you're a contender at that point, and with how many injuries are coming, like left and right. It sounds like Jordan Mason just got banged up in this game too. Like at a certain point, like he's a healthy body on a good offense. He went over 100 yards I mean, they sent him off this
Yeah.
dude off the street, and he went for 69 yards and then 103 yards last week, and then he got the touchdown as well. And he got
Right.
15 and 6 receiving yards both weeks. So like he's putting up I know he's old and he's not fun. But I mean, hell, if he's going to be putting up, a tutty and about 100 yards every week, like up or even like 70 yards, right? Like,
so he's one of the most traded players on Dynasty Daddy. 728 trades. I think this is like in the last. I don't know how long it's been, but I just pulled up his trades, and today there was 1, 2, 3. Basically 4 trades of Kareem Hunt for a third. So you could get him for a third, and that would be pretty nice in my opinion. Kareem Hunt and Rashad Bateman for Luke McCaffrey. What a nice trade right there.
That's just gross all the way around.
Goodness.
Kareem Hunt for a second, or Kareem Hunt and a third for a second, so a 2-3 swap. Juju and Kareem Hunt for 2/3, a fourth and a third, or 3/3 and a fourth. Excuse me. Another 2-3 swap with Kareem Hunt on Kareem Hunt for Donnie Mitchell. So yeah, he's not trading for much. A third is basically what it would get done. And I would do that. I would do that for sure.
Yeah, might as well. If you are in a league where you are, maybe one of the top couple teams, and maybe you haven't had injuries yet, but just the way things are going, like it doesn't hurt to have some insurance. Just throw some feelers out there, see what you can get. Because chances are, if someone has Kareem Hunt, like they picked him up thinking that they were going to be, competing, and then maybe some extra injuries happen. Now all of a sudden their circumstances have changed and they're not competing anymore. I'm sure they're willing to get rid of that for a third, because Kareem Hunt's not going to have value beyond the season. So he's really just like a rental.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Let's see here. And then moving down, we got Aaron Jones, Devin Achane, and Etienne. All these guys are a bit banged up right now. The production hasn't really been there for Etienne. Achane's kind of got the built-in excuse of Tua being on IR there for the the poor scoring and everything like that. Not great to see him get banged up again. Like he's always got the thing of he's such a tiny guy, so he's going to get hurt more. Well, I mean, so far it's been true. But also like it's a violent game and everybody's getting hurt. So I mean, you can't really just put that on him.
It's about half the leagues
right
on IR on the injury report this week. So
exactly. So then we have Aaron Jones hurt again too. So and he's always a candidate for that as well.
Yeah, so for me, the biggest one out of here is probably Etienne, just because Tank has looked really well when he's getting the ball. And I know Etienne the last 2 weeks has been kind of banged up. I know the coach Peterson came out and said that Etienne's still their starter, but I think if Tank is still gonna continue to look good, it's gonna be hard to keep him off the field. And unfortunately, I think Etienne's gonna kind of get passed up, and I don't even know if they will do a 1-2 punch, because Tank has just looked so much better in my opinion.
I mean, I think that will still be the split, but I think it might just kind of reverse, and it's Tank's getting the most of the carries, and Etienne's kind of getting some of the
totally. Like he's breaking off big runs, looking good. Yeah, he looks much more fresh and the better running back. And
however,
Tank's a stud, baby. I've been waiting for this day. I've been waiting for this day.
Yeah, I still want to wait and see, because if Etienne comes back and there's is a full 100% healthy, I think this might be a little bit different. But like I said, it's hard to keep a good a player off the field if they're looking good.
If there's one thing we know about Doug Peterson, is that he's stubborn to the guys that he likes, and so he might very well just run Etienne into the ground until he gets fired, because he's just not a very good coach or evaluator.
Shortly.
Well, I mean, it might be, and then there's going to be hope for Tank probably, because I bet other coaches will come in there and go like, "Oh, hey, look, this guy's better, so we're going to play the better player." Whereas Peterson might not be willing to do so.
Yeah, I've also heard looks like Mason is back on the field, kind of.
Thank God.
But
good news.
Right, yeah. I've also heard him mentioned as a trade candidate. I don't know if that's just Twitter rumors or if that is a
Everyone's a trade
thing.
candidate right now.
Right.
Totally.
Right. Okay, so for tight ends, we have Kyle Pitts. Spanky, I believe this is, thinks it's a fluke game. Tucker
Yes.
Kraft on his way up, and Mark Andrews is probably dead.
Yep. Andrew sucks. He can't do anything. He's barely in the field. There's 3 tight ends. I mean, Charlie Kohler was getting a lot of work this last week for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft, really excited about him. Luke Musgrave just went on IR, so and Kraft has scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games, and he's been awesome. I have he's actually my tight end start of the week again because I went back to the well. And then Kyle Pitts. Yeah, so his game last week, he's 7 catches, 88 yards. It sounds great until the context of Cousins threw for over 500 yards. So that 88 yards through that was like less than a fifth of his total yards. He was 13% target share, 9% first read rate. So he really didn't have like a ton there. He also had I think 2 of those catches came when Drake London left temporarily during the game.
Yep.
He had that one like 44-yard catch early in the first drive. So like it sounds good when you just look at the score, but when you get the context behind it, it's like, oh no, he still kind of sucks. He just kind of got a nice game script.
Yep. I mean, my guy Ray McLeod had 66 yards last game. Like he's been like
Ray's my boy.
He's been fine like all year, right? But that's just like for the context of like almost everybody had yards that game, and so the numbers that I really like to look into more, like that target share only at 13%, 9% first read rate is very, very bad. So, you know, I think overall it was a fluke game, and so I want to see maybe is he going to get a little more involved in a game that's close and Cousins throws for like 300 yards, like a normal game. But no, I personally don't think it's going to happen. I think this was just a big yardage game, and he was just included as well.
Yeah, real quick too. Ray McLeod is money on underdog. He hits overs left and right. He's X baby. So if you happen to partake in the underdog thing, look at Ray's over props for receiving yards. Just
Ray McLeod,
snapping necks.
And then real quick on Kraft, Tucker Kraft is up for me as well. With how bad the landscape of tight ends are, like Tucker Kraft is looking very, very nice. And then Musgrave, like you said, just went on IR. So he's probably like the second option right now. And where Love is throwing the ball, he's like their second option. So things are looking up for Tucker Kraft.
Especially because they are. Dubs and Christian Watson are coming back into the offense, and Watson's been hurt, so they might ease him back in. Romeo Dubs is, I don't know what kind of fit he was throwing, but he's back now. So whatever.
Yeah,
it's Jaden Kraft, right? So.
For me, I think Dubs is just like a headache. I think he's going to possibly be traded. So I just think for me it's Reed and Tucker Kraft. So.
I have some
Dubs can't have much trade value, I would assume.
He's got to be cheap.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Ron, give us some of your starts.
I'm going back to the. I'm not going back to my quarterback's Kirk Cousins. He is playing Carolina, so that's all you need to know about that one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What do you guys got for quarterbacks?
That's a brain buster there. I'm going with Caleb Williams. I know the game's early. I know it's in London, but he is getting the Jacksonville Jaguars. They are probably the most friendly to opposing QBs, allowing 287 yards per game. And he had his first 300-yard passing game last week, so I think that continues this week. And he was, I think Kirk Cousins will throw over for 300 as well. Maybe he throws for 600 this week. Who knows? Caleb Williams, fire him up this week. I think he's going to start to play a lot better. I think he's starting to kind of grow. I don't know though. I know his offensive coordinator will hinder.
Panthers will do that for you.
A little bit. That's true. Same with the Jaguars.
Yeah.
My QB start of the week is Daniel Jones. I know he's a
Love
gross
it.
name, but 3 of the last 4 weeks, QB7, QB12, QB10. He's shredded, baby. And then Cincinnati is awful. They've given up a ton of yards just left and right to everybody. I mean, they made Andy Dalton and the Panthers look like a freaking juggernaut on offense. So Daniel Jones, he just had a hell of a week too without Malik Neighbors. Darius Slayton was carving people up. It sounds like Neighbors is going to be out again, but I don't think it matters. Daniel Jones has been awesome.
Kittle touchdown.
I saw that.
Okay.
2 running backs.
Okay, I got Josh Jacobs. He's playing against the Cardinals. Cardinals are giving up 120 yards on the ground to running backs right now, and about 27 yards through the air. Averages about 1 touchdown per game, and that works out to about 20 points per game for running backs against them Arizona Cardinals. So I think you're good to go with Josh Jacobs this week.
Love it. Love it. Give me Chase Brown. I talked about it earlier. They get the Giants. Moss could end up sitting this week due to an ankle injury. He scored 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games and 15 touches last week. So I think he's in for a good week. The Giants give up around 48 receiving yards per game. And so we know that the Bengals love to throw the ball. So I think it's going to be another nice week for all those Bengals, to be honest.
All the Bengals. Who day? My running back start of the week is Tony the Show Pony Pollard. He gets the Indianapolis Colts this week.
Love it.
They can't stop anybody.
That's
they give rushing yards to everybody. Pollard's been
in the club.
He's been a running back 2 or better 3 of the 4 games he's played. I think Tajay's back this week, but it doesn't matter. He's still getting the benefit of the 60-40 time split. And to be honest with you, I think it's better for Pollard if he's not getting a full, huge work.
Totally.
He's fresher. He's more explosive. So I look for, at least a tutty in this one. And let's call it 95 yards.
Woohoo!
Baby.
Fire him up.
Fire it up. Okay. So for my wide receiver, I have Calvin Ridley. I know it's kind of be gross with Will Levis and or Mason Rudolph, but the Colts D has given up about 280 yards per game.
Can't stop anyone on the ground in the air.
Yeah. We saw what Trevor Lawrence did to them, and he's been kind of butt cheeks all year long. So, and he looked like a very competent quarterback against that team. So. Brian Callahan also came out and said that they need to get the ball into Ridley's hands more. So I expect some forcing of the ball to Calvin Ridley this week. And what a perfect week for that to happen.
Love it. Although I don't like
what them eyes about.
Calvin Ridley. Sorry.
It's LaVisca Chanel. Jesus Christ.
Seattle
just took a kickoff to the his house.
What?
Aye.
Oh, Visca. Oh my
goodness!
I haven't heard in a long time. All right.
My start of the week. Sorry, this guy's really good, so not really digging too deep. But DJ Moore, again, the Bears are playing the Jaguars. So fire up. I think even fire up Swift. I think they're gonna have some guys that scored this week. I know, like I said, I know it's a game in London, so we don't always. It's not always the greatest offensive showing, but I actually think because it's the Jaguars, I think the Bears will put up some numbers. I think he's starting to get in the groove with Caleb. So I think there'll be better days ahead with DJ Moore.
All right. I love it. My wide receiver start of the week. We're gonna steal the moon, Darnell Mooney.
Let's go.
It's fun. We kind of hit a theme here. A lot of our same teams, but anyways, Darnell Mooney. They get the Panthers. They've given up the most passing touchdowns all year. The Carolina Panthers have. Drake London gets the best coverage. Now, I don't think there's a lot of best coverage when it comes to Carolina, so even better. Sure. But Mooney, I think he's good for a deep shot this one.
Yeah, definitely agree. Okay, so for my tight end, I got Trey McBride. Just the tight end landscape is just butt cheeks. Green Bay's been kind of bad against tight ends, not terribly bad. They're lower on the list there. Just fire Trey McBride up. Of course you will anyway.
Yep. That's Always fire him up. But yeah, I mean, even with how bad the tight ends are, I think sometimes just a good reminder to be good, to fire up your good tight ends. I talked about it a little bit earlier, Dalton Schultz. I know this is not your like sexy pick, but I think sometimes we got to find those guys that we could we'll kind of, I wouldn't say breakout, but we'll have a good game. And I think Dalton Schultz will this week with Nico on the shelf. I think he's going to get involved a little bit more. And with Nico out last week, he got 6 total targets with a 17% first read share. And so I think he's going to have a great week. And the Patriots are giving up 50 yards per game to tight ends. So I think he's good for around 50 yards and maybe a touchdown.
Love it. My tight end start of the week, Tucker Kraft. He's on a heater, and I think that continues. He gets the Arizona Cardinals this week. George Kittle just went 8 for 64 and 1 against them last week. Tucker Kraft has been on the field for more snaps than any of Green Bay's offensive weapons, which is awesome. He's getting a ton of work, and Jordan Love seems to love him. So fire up your Kraft mac and cheese and let's go.
Heyo. Kraft macaroni and cheese.
You like that?
97-yard touchdown.
There.
Laviska Shenault, for anybody that didn't know, he's still in the NFL. He is indeed, and he is on the Seattle Seahawks.
Wow. I learned that when they played, or when the Lions played Seattle, because he caught some ridiculously long first down screen pass. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? Because I think D. Eskridge used to wear number 1. I'm like, it's not D. Eskridge. But
do you remember when people thought Shenault was going to be a thing?
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
good times.
That's the only thing out of Colorado before
Fishbowl winner. Yeah.
Oh man, you guys got anything else tonight? I think that was it.
I think that's all I got. So hopefully we can have a good second half here. Hopefully Seattle makes us a game.
I know.
Yeah.
And we get some good football this weekend.
Alrighty.
Hell yeah.
Let's go.
See you guys.
Peace out.